I saw you there, Connor. I saw you if Sunderland were drawing 0-0 against Gillingham, getting your pitchfork out. I think from time to time, that guy, you gotta occasionally polish your pitchfork. I wasn't saying I was gonna get it out. I'm just saying, maybe it was just a coincidence that I was polishing my pitchfork as Sunderland were drawing 0-0 away at Gillingham. I think, Connor, the ultimate question is, does a 2-0 win away at Gillingham with that performance change your opinion on Phil Parkinson? That's a good question, Hat Guy. It's a fundamental question. Do I believe that Phil Parkinson is the right man to guide Sunderland forward? If I'm being honest, I'd probably side with I don't think he is, but I don't want to hammer him too much when we win 2-0 away from home. So, Connor, why would you side with Phil Parkinson not being the man to drive Sunderland forward? I think fundamentally it's because the football's really shit. I feel like we win games due to defensive errors more than our own brilliant play. And I just feel like over the course of the season, I don't see us having enough to finish in the top two. Okay, Connor, I see that there. Yeah, I see where you're coming from, but I do think that maybe there's a little bit of harshness towards Phil Parkinson because, we've not had a bad start of the season, and today they showed plenty of character to get an away win at a hard ground. Admittedly, they were boosted by a red card and a penalty, but I don't know either. I don't know where I'd sit on this debate. So, Sunderland win 2-0 away at Gillingham, and it was an interesting game to sort of dissect because for large portions of it, Sunderland weren't really very good. They did do a good defensive job against Gillingham, I don't think we really looked like conceding. Obviously, they conceded a stupid penalty, but in open play, we didn't really look like conceding, and that's kind of the hallmark of a Phil Parkinson side. Going forward, though, again, there's just such a lack of creativity. Sometimes it's just hard to watch a Sunderland team play. The attacking play is it's so poor. And I think had Sunderland not got 2 goals today and won the match, then would we have a very different conversation. But ultimately, they win the game 2-0, and you don't want to hammer the team for when they win a game at a hard ground. Steve Evans' side, they're always going to be a pain in the arse to play. So you got to give them credit for the 2-0 win. But anyway, we'll run down the key events. Not really much happened in the first half. Josh Scowen missed a few chances for Sunderland. Gillingham dominated the first 25 minutes without really creating all too much. I didn't really have anything noted down in the first half. It was pretty much a snooze fest. That was the feeling I got from social media. Second half, though, it really, really, really livened up. Sunderland came out, and I thought they were the better side to start the second half. But Tom Flanagan just gave away an absolutely stupid penalty. Soft, yes, but stupid nonetheless. Kind of just knocks him over from behind in a not a very dangerous position. It's just it's a really silly one to give away for a player with reasonable experience, but Graham missed it. It wasn't a great penalty, but take nothing away from Lee Burge. Good save. Sunderland are at 0-0. Then, a minute later, 60th minute, red card for McDonald for Gillingham. Terrible tackle. Don't think there'll be any complaints from Steve Evans on the sideline for that one because it was just a really bad tackle, and we're lucky that Luke O'Nien kind of came out of that one unscathed. So Gillingham down to 10 men, kind of just sort of hoping that maybe Sunderland turn the screw, and I think, to be fair, for the last half an hour they did turn the screw. I don't want to necessarily say it was gung-ho football, it wasn't, but we did create chances in the last half an hour. 67 minutes, Aidan O'Brien, who I think he had a bit of a stinker today, but we'll go into the match ratings a bit later on, but he was an absolute sitter, which really should have put Sunderland 1-0 up. Scowen then continued his miserable afternoon in front of goal. I actually thought his play in midfield was good, but his finishing was just really poor. Scowen missed an absolute sitter from pretty much the penalty box. He skied it. 77 minutes, Charlie White nearly scores. He has this slide tackle shot that's well saved from the keeper. Kind of looked like at that point it was going to be a very frustrating afternoon for Sunderland, but Maguire came on the 81st minute, probably a little bit too late for me. Don't know if he's carrying an injury or anything, but just seemed a bit strange time to bring him on, and he came on. He made the difference. Charlie Wyke in the 83rd minute received the ball. The box, he did a good touch. The Gillingham player clatters him. Referee looks like he's probably not going to give it. Linesman flags for it though. Was a penalty. No real complaints there either from Steve Evans. Well, in my opinion, he might be complaining, but I don't think he should. So Wyke's fouled, and I think you got to give him credit for that because he won that penalty, I would say. Maguire steps up for the penalty and puts it away coolly. Sunderland winning 1-0 in the 84th minute. Felt like at that point against 10 men, Gillingham were going to have to do a lot to score, certainly against our defence when our defence looked at its best. And then we sort of ride out the last sort of 10 minutes of the game, but finally Lyndon Gooch picks up the ball sort of halfway inside his own half, wins a challenge, and then just runs pretty much 2/3 the length of the pitch. Gets in one-on-one. Thought he was maybe going to pass to Maguire, but then I remembered Lyndon Gooch probably isn't the man who's going to... I mean, would Maguire have passed to Lyndon Gooch in that situation? Probably not. So, no knock on Gooch there, but he gets in one-on-one, puts it... It's saved sort of by the goalkeeper. Maybe the goalkeeper should have done better, but it ends up going in the net anyway. Sunderland win 2-0. And it's a difficult one to digest because for an hour of that game, Sunderland were poor. The football was terrible. I would say it was borderline a boring match. Some people say it was one of the worst first halves of football they'd seen. And I can't really disagree with any of that, but I think overall, when you look at the full picture of the 90 minutes, it felt like Sunderland did deserve to win. Yes, refereeing decisions played a part, but they were all correct, I would say. Apart from maybe their penalty, which I thought was harsh, but the red card and our penalty were perfectly good decisions. And we go away from home in a tough place and we win. So we can't really complain all that much. Anyway, we'll jump to the player ratings. Lee Burge, who I've been a little bit of a critic of this season. I've given him a 7 today, largely because he didn't do much wrong. He saved a penalty, which was vital to us winning the game. Had Gillingham scored that penalty, I would probably guess that we wouldn't have got anything from the match, but he saves the penalty, and ultimately if your goalkeeper saves a penalty and keeps a clean sheet, you can't really give him any lower than a 7, so Burge gets a 7 today. As for the back three, Bailey Wright, again, just looks absolutely rock solid. I would say he probably is the best defender in the league. I've kind of said it a few times already this season, but absolutely rock solid today. I've given him a 7. His defensive partners, McLaughlin, I don't think he's done much wrong since he's come in this season. I think a lot of fans are a bit apprehensive of McLaughlin getting game time, but fundamentally he's done okay since he's came in. He's not really let us down at any point. I've given him a 6. Tom Flanagan, it's a stupid one for the penalty. He should know better. His passing again just wasn't great today. And sometimes I think Flanagan's quite good, and other times I think he's really poor. Today was one of the days where I didn't think he covered himself in glory, so I've given him a 4. Luke on 9, right wing back. I didn't think he had a great game today. I've given him a 5. Denver Hume, sort of the same. I expect better from Denver. I feel like he wasn't as involved in the game as I'd expect. I've given him a 5 today. Josh Scowen, a difficult one to mark because I liked a lot of his play today, but ultimately when you have 3 brilliant chances like what he had, and you don't even, I don't know if you work the keeper, you've got to, you've got to mark him down for that. He got in the positions and he was good today, and I think, he had a fine game, but his finishing was just so weak, and he should have got himself a goal today. So I've given Josh Scowen a 5. Grant Ledbetter. This was a hard one to mark. I don't think he did particularly much wrong. I don't think he did particularly that much, great. So I've given him a 5, largely because I think for the first hour of the game our midfield were largely dominated, and I expect Grant to be the one dominating. So move now to the front three. Aidan O'Brien. I don't know on that lad. I'm not sold on Aidan O'Brien yet. I've not seen all too much to say positive so far. I thought he was very good in that League Cup game against Hull when he was playing up there with Will Grigg. But other than that, I just don't see it so far. Yes, I think we've maybe, I think we played 10 games this season, something like that. It's not a big sample size, but I think it's a large enough sample size to know what he is and what he isn't, and he certainly doesn't look like a goal scorer. and that's kind of what we need. He doesn't look like an out-and-out winger, which is kind of where he's playing. I almost don't really know what he is. So wasn't that impressed. And haven't been that impressed with Aidan O'Brien since he signed. Lyndon Gooch, I've given him a 7 today. I thought he was lively. Even before the goal, I thought he was one of our better players this afternoon, and his goal was brilliant. Ran the full length of the pitch, had all that energy late in the match. You've got to give him a lot of credit for that. He's a player that is very industrious. So I was impressed with Gooch today. I'm giving him a 7. Charlie Wyke, he won the penalty. He's more and more involved in every game. We can tell that he's got a little bit of confidence about him. He looks more like the player I thought we were signing a couple of years ago. Is he perfect? No. Is he going to be the striker that gets us probably 15 to 20 goals? Probably not this season. But is he doing better than all of our other strikers? Yes. So you can't knock Charlie Wyke at the minute. You can't knock the manager for starting him. Off the bench, Chris Maguire comes on and scores an important penalty. So giving him a 6 because it was a short period of time. But he does a very good job for Gooch's goal because he drives with them and he distracts the defenders because the defenders are also worried about pass across goal. And you've got to give him credit for that. It's almost like a secondary assist on that one. Danny Graham came on as well, and to be honest, I didn't really think he did all that much, but that's just kind of been Danny Graham's whole career when it comes to Sunderland. So, what do we rate Phil Parkinson at today? Very difficult, I would say. Very, very, very hard one to rate, because for the first hour of the game, I would probably have given him a 2 or a 3, because I wasn't impressed. The football was terrible. I was only falling asleep on my couch. I wasn't enjoying the match, and I feel like that's, football's there to be, it's entertainment essentially. And if it wasn't for the fact I made videos and did podcasts and spent a lot of my life sort of covering Sunderland, in a lot of ways I'd be inclined not to pay to watch the games because they've been that rubbish. I know I'm a fan, and of course you're fans, which is probably why you're paying to watch it, but at some point you've got to wonder, is it worth paying £10 to watch that level of football? I mean, that's just a question I suppose everyone has to ask themselves when it comes to the matches. But for me, I mean, I know people who have stopped paying to watch the games because they find it boring. They don't find it as interesting. I think when you go to the matches, a rubbish football match probably isn't as bad live because there's other things that can kind of keep your attention, mainly because you can watch it with friends, and at the minute because of all the lockdown stuff you can't even do that. I'm watching the games by myself and it's no fun to do so there's an element of me questioning the entertainment compared to the results. Today of course we won, but had we drawn that game 0-0, which probably we would have, had their man not got sent off, it would have been really, really just not worth paying the money. And has there been a game really this season that I thought is worth the £10? Well, maybe, to be honest, the ones that have been are like the Checker Trade ones, which have had loads of goals. The league games have just been really, really hard watching, and that's a little of a philosophical debate anyway on whether or not football is entertainment, or if you just watch it because you feel like you have a duty to watch it. But what would I give Parkinson today? I mean, ultimately we won the match, so I feel like that's a bare minimum 5. So I've given him the minimum I can give someone who's won a game. So 5 for him this afternoon. But certainly the first hour of the game was just, I can't describe how poor that was. It was just absolutely dour, awful football. So yeah, that kind of sums up that. And it feels like the games are kind of coming thick, keep doing that, thick and fast at the moment. Looking ahead, we've got Ipswich on Tuesday night at the Stadium Line, big game. Mansfield next weekend in the FA Cup. But it's Saturday, Tuesday. It's relentless at the minute, and that's good. But hopefully Phil Parkinson can utilise the squad more. We watched the under-23s do a job last night. They've won 3 games in the PL2 this season. Elliot Embleton scored a couple of goals last night. I know Kim Bioga's picked up an injury, but Kim Bioga's looking good. I don't know if he's looking good because we don't really get to see the highlights, but from what you hear and read, Kim Bioga is scoring goals, Embleton scoring goals. You want to see Dan Neil coming there. We've got options. We've got young players who ultimately deserve a chance, and I think one of the knocks on Phil Parkinson is the fact that he's not giving them young players a try. And it's okay when you win, like we did today, but ultimately, I feel like that's going to be a stick that people are going to hit him with, because we've got these young players that are clearly good, clearly deserve a chance, and we're very reluctant to give them that game time. I know Jack Diamond was on the bench today, but I find it frustrating when we're not actually playing very well and the football's not great, and we've got these young players who are energetic and a bit different and dynamic, and we aren't giving them a chance. And when we're playing Saturday, Tuesday, surely there has to be a justification there to put in some of these younger players to give them a little bit of game time. You know, it doesn't sit right with me that you would give, you know, Grant Ledbetter all this game time, and Max Power game time, and Dobson, and the attacking players we've got. We're giving them all game time despite the fact they're not really rewarding. I mean, Ledbetter, I think, has been brilliant this season, but he's like 34. You know, should we not be trying to blood these younger players in? Is that me maybe just being too football manager? Maybe it is, but I just find it frustrating that we have all these good young players and we're not giving them a chance. And so anyway, that was kind of turned into a little bit of a rant there towards the end. Thanks for watching this video. Please like and comment. I would appreciate that a lot. And hopefully on Tuesday we'll pick up another big win, because that game against Ipswich Town will be absolutely massive and have big implications for us for the rest of the season. So thanks for watching this video.